We will begin this video by explaining what neocolonialism is versus colonialism. We can see colonial, which could translate to colony, and colonialism also as colony. The only difference would be the neo part, which means new or abnormal, and neocolonialism means a nation, a stronger nation, taking power over a smaller nation, or just taking land due to economic and or political bonds. Usually an independent nation or a stronger nation would be the one taking it from a weaker nation. Colonialism was shown how one takes an unclaimed land for your nation and spreads your beliefs there. An example would be how England set sail to the Americas and then decided to take the new land and make it as their colony, where they would explain and show Christianity in the English language. And later on, after the World War II, neocolonialism became a thing where you could stop being a colony if, one, the colony gained independence, which was the Revolutionary War, and they gained their independence against England. Therefore, they came free and became their own nation. Another way to avoid being a colony would be taking land and or expanding it. The first example, number one, would explain how America then became their own nation. And number two, it shows how the USA took some land from Mexico, which would later become Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas for their own benefits, due to Mexico couldn't be paying the debt they had for the USA, and they decided to give land instead. A real-life model of how neocolonialism is working is how China is giving food to Africa, and Africa is giving workers to China. Many workers, more than China needs. And then China keeps giving food and money back to Africa. And then Africa gives even more workers to China as it felt in debt. And how this model works is how China is giving items to Africa to help it live, while Africa is giving workers, sending them to China so that China will get more money to profit from. And this is a problem since many people politically is thinking that China is trying to rule over Africa, since China and Africa have a bond right now, causing them to think that Africa is going to be the new China. We saw in the example how China gave Africa some money, therefore Africa would give workers to China so it could pay it back. And people believe politically that China is trying to establish a new nation of part of China in Africa. Decolonization began in World War II. After World War II, where powerful nations took advantage of smaller nations and took them as their land. Right now in the world, we are blaming neocolonialism for poverty because all the stronger nations are taking advantage of the smaller nations. And right now, all the poor countries used to be rich, but then because they couldn't pay debts to the richer ones, they're now poor.